dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, Original Proof? It's your boy, DJ Milke, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
Back on the channel with more courtroom, man. We got top 7 reactions. Top 7? I just realized it's top 7.
Top 7.
Normally he do top 5, but it's top 7 reactions of innocent convicts set free. Hey, shout out to Courtroom for these clips, man. It'll be lit clips, man. So with that being said, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
liking it with a thumbs up.
That's all we ask.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's dive into it. Let's see these 7 reactions. I thought it was just 5. But all right, let's go.
This is Clemente Aguirre, who was sentenced to death for a double murder he did not commit in Altamont Springs, Florida.
I do know that nobody believed me back then. No one. Besides my mother, nobody believed me.
Nearly 14 years ago, Aguirre lived just a few doors down when a mother and daughter were killed. Soon, Aguirre became the prime suspect. Reportedly, he went to the woman's house that night asking for beer, and here he found the dead bodies. He tried to revive the woman, but then panicked and ran home. He stated he didn't call the police because he was an illegal immigrant from Honduras and feared deportation. Aguirre was arrested and later convicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder and given the death sentence.
I didn't do it. I don't kill nobody.
After Aguirre was escorted out of the courtroom, it wouldn't be until 9 years later. Evidence showed that the DNA might have been misrepresented. So Aguirre's lawyers filed for more testing. It turns out that all of Aguirre's DNA samples matched his testimony, meaning that his DNA on the scene matched with him trying to save the victims. After 14 years behind bars, 11 of which on death row, all charges against Aguirre are dropped, and he thanks the court.
And I thank you for it. From the bottom of my heart.
As he hugs his team and family, he is now walking out a free man. Reportedly, Aguirre is owed $720,000 from the state for the wrongful conviction. However, state lawyers are fighting against it, and so far, he hasn't received anything. His immigration status is also ongoing.
That's the question I had out of the whole thing. I was like, are y'all going to deport him now? That's crazy, bruh. Like, and they always say a lot of people on death row. The death row cases be some of the most innocent people. Yeah. Or the punishment is too harsh.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. And a lot of people, when I be saying, like, I got a thing against the death penalty, a lot of people be in the comments and saying they like, oh, you only saying that now, but it's about somebody's heart and what weighs on one's heart. I'm not a person that just say eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You do something to me, I'm just like at the end of
why I don't support the death penalty is because of situations like this.
Yeah.
So
not even that, like me, like at the end of the day,
I know why you don't.
The individual I am, I do believe in forgiveness. I do believe in clearing your conscience, because
most definitely.
If you walk around with carrying hate and towards people, that burden is carried on you throughout every day of your life.
No, I agree with you. Like, I'm not saying that's just the only reason, but
I'm
just
saying to them.
Oh, I thought you was like saying.
No.
But
I just said
this is one of the reasons. Maybe I should have said that this is one of the reasons, because you have so many innocent people sitting in prison or on death row or situations like that, and it's like. You know,
because he like it's proven he but a lot of people like technically he like, come on now, like chill out.
This is Debra Milke. She was sentenced to death and spent 22 years on death row for a crime she did not commit in Phoenix, Arizona.
My innocence did not matter in their pursuit of a conviction.
Milke's 4-year-old son was found dead in a desert, being shot 3 times. Milke was questioned by Detective Armando Saldate Jr., which was not recorded or reported at all. He claimed that Milke admitted to arranging the murder.
She then decided that it'd be best for Christopher Milke to die.
She was then charged with first-degree murder despite no actual record of her admitting to the crime. The state determined she had masterminded the shooting and she was sentenced to death. Over 20 years later, questions started to get asked regarding Milke's confession to Detective Saldate, which Milke still denies ever giving.
I had absolutely nothing to do with the brutal murder of my son, Christopher, and I did not give a confession to Mr. Saldate.
Reportedly, the court found that Detective Saldate had a long list of lying under oath and violating individual rights while interrogating. Milke's alleged confession was the only direct evidence linking her to the crime. And finally, 24 years after the arrest and facing the death sentence, her conviction gets overturned. Listen as she shares her thoughts for the wrongful conviction.
Losing a child to murder is a devastating tragedy. Being falsely accused of a crime you didn't commit is also a devastating tragedy. Try to imagine that. What happened to me could happen to any one of you.
Milke now walks out a free woman. There are no reports of Milke receiving any compensation.
For 22 years? That's a long time. But her case, again, just because anybody's proven innocent doesn't mean they're not guilty of the crime. You know what I'm saying? So, but my thing is, don't try to falsify a case just for a conviction. Like with the stuff going on right now, we always say, if you got a case, prove your case the correct way and quit just trying to force a conviction, because a lot of times, a lot of people don't, when it comes down to the criminal justice system, they majority of the time don't have a case, or their cases are solved by reports from other people. Yeah. People make their jobs easier for them. Yeah. A lot of them don't really want to do the hard work.
Now, it's different if you have someone sitting in prison or sitting on there for whatever, that's innocent, per se, and y'all come back because you found who actually did it. Now, that's different.
No, that ain't still different. Bro, I shouldn't have even been in here in the first place.
No. I'm talking about what you said. No, don't worry about it.
No, I'm just saying,
I was talking about what you said. I'm saying, because you said in the beginning, when you first opened up, what you just said, you was like, just because they are proven innocent or whatever doesn't mean that they're not guilty. Yeah. And I'm saying, but if you actually find out who did it, then yes, I am innocent, because you actually found out who actually did it. You have DNA, all of this. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. My whole thing is, hey, bro, do your job the right way. Right. That's all.
Just point blank.
Actually, use that. I'll be sloppy, bro.
This is Clifford Williams. He was sentenced to death and spent 43 years behind bars for crimes he did not commit in Jacksonville, Florida.
I just wanted to get out and be with my 6 kids. They was gone, and it wasn't nobody but them.
Williams was 34, and his 18-year-old nephew, Nathan Myers, were suspects in a murder and attempted murder. The survivor of the shooting claimed that she had been shot by the uncle and nephew, identifying them both by name. Despite having solid alibis, Williams and Myers were both arrested and charged within hours. No physical or DNA evidence pinned the two men to this crime, yet both men were found guilty. Williams was sentenced to death, and Myers was given a life sentence. It wasn't until 43 years later, while they were in prison, there was a new investigation on the scene, proving that the ballistic reports from the crime lab didn't match the original testimony, and it was the only evidence pinning the men to this crime. And now, this is the moment that Williams and Myers have been waiting for 43 years.
Mr. Williams and Mr. Myers, the indictments have been dismissed against you. You are free to go, and we are adjourned.
After they hear that they are free, they hug each other and their team. Williams and Myers both received $2 million in state compensation.
So what happened to the woman that's pointed them out? Did she go to jail? Because if you believe in eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, then you know what I'm saying. If you feel, I feel as if you murder somebody, you should be murdered too. But if you wrongly send somebody to jail for 40-some years, shouldn't you get 40-some years? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because nothing can get back 40-something years behind bars, sitting on death row.
When situations like this happen,
and luckily he didn't get his death date.
Right. But when situations like this happen, I be wondering, like going back, like if they are innocent, you know, what made you
point them out
and say their names?
That's why I thought we might would have got something.
Yeah.
But those be the ones I'm like, so what happened to this? And that's the reason why they, like, nowadays they say you can't always go by eyewitness testimony because some of those are falsified. Some people believe they saw something and they possibly are convincing themselves they saw what they saw and they really didn't see what they saw.
Yeah.
So you can't just always go off of eyewitness testimony, even if they are a victim, especially if somebody resembles somebody else.
Yeah.
You might confuse the who you actually saw. Especially if you don't. Like now, if you do something to me, I know it's you. But if a stranger do something to me and I never seen them before, in my head, I'm going to have a blurry image to who they are. Yeah. And I might say, oh, it's this person just because something about you might resemble
remind
something.
Me, like, you know, if the person actually, you know.
Yeah.
This is Eric Kelly, who was sentenced to life in prison for a robbery and murder he did not commit in Passaic County, New Jersey. Kelly was 28 when he was taken into custody after a man was killed working at a video store. Kelly suffered a tragic brain injury, making him suffer a cognitive disability, and he had trouble processing information from detectives and allegedly admitted to the crime, even though he had not done it. Despite no physical evidence, he was convicted and put in prison. It wouldn't be until 24 years later the case was reopened, and major advancements in DNA testing proved that Kelly was not at the crime scene.
Therefore, in light of the foregoing reasons, the motion for a new trial is hereby granted.
A new trial was granted, and Kelly is now outside of prison for the first time in almost a quarter century, still with the fear he might go back.
Mainly, I want to eat. I'm a little hungry. My legal team, I want to thank them. I want to thank my family. Just want to get back to like actually living for once.
Surprisingly, the prosecution later dismissed all pending charges against him. Kelly reportedly received $1 million in state compensation.
In cases like this, do you feel as though they should treat like people with disabilities a little different? You know what I'm saying?
In a sense, because I do feel like some people are not trained to deal with people that have disabilities, or they take advantage of them.
Because let's say, what was the Ava DuVernay, the Central Park 5?
Yeah.
With one of the individuals in that case, he had a disability, and I think they took advantage of him having a disability, convincing him that, hey, I'm a fool because their brain's not developed as a average human being. Yeah. So I feel like in those cases, because if somebody is criminally insane, y'all treat those cases different. So why not treat somebody with a disability?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
This is Robert Springsteen, who spent 9 years in prison and was sentenced to death for crimes he allegedly did not commit in Austin, Texas. Springsteen was 17 at the time, and 3 friends were believed to be prime suspects in the killings of 4 teenage girls at a yogurt shop. One of the boys was caught carrying a .22 caliber gun at the mall, as it was the same weapon used in the killings. The boys were set free after no link was found, but 7 years later, one of the friends was interrogated and begun to give up information saying that the .22 caliber gun used to belong to Springsteen.
But this is one of the most significant things that ever happened in your life. That's what I keep trying to explain to you. If I was there and I partook in this, I would remember these things. And you do remember these things. No, I don't.
He was arrested, then later convicted and sentenced to death. Springsteen's conviction was later overturned based on an unfair trial. While waiting for a retrial, lawyers requested further DNA evidence to be analyzed from the original crime scene. Even though it had been 17 years, the analysts concluded that no DNA was found of Springsteen and his 3 friends. Now, Springsteen is back in court.
Second defendant, Robert Springsteen's case is being called this afternoon. Additionally, 4 pending capital murder indictments.
And all charges are now dismissed.
The court has signed these dismissals in each of the causes against these 2 defendants, Michael Scott and Robert Springsteen.
Springsteen sits silently as he hears that he is now a free man. Springsteen spent 9 years in prison, but his overturned conviction was not granted based on actual innocence, which makes him not eligible for a payout.
Trust me, he don't care. He's just happy about his freedom. Yeah. But my thing is, what made the friend want to say some stupid, idiotic stuff with that unless y'all caught the friend on something else. And he was like, hey, man, I got, because people do that. People get caught up in situations and be like, I got to figure out a way to get out of this. Y'all got an old unsolved murder. I know who did that.
Yeah.
And they'll be lying just to get themselves out of a situation. Because they're like, if my confession here, if I can help y'all convict this person, would y'all give me a lighter sentence on this situation? And they be like, yeah. And that's the reason why I be like, y'all really don't be doing y'all jobs. Y'all be wanting a leeway to help y'all convict people.
I'm thinking about something, yeah.
But to be honest, with the money, I'm sure he don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sure all he care about is his freedom. And now he can go out here and ask, when he put on an application for a job and say, have you ever been convicted of a felony? He can legally say no.
Yeah.
So I'll take that any day and I can go live my life.
Yeah.
This is Curtis Flowers, who was wrongfully imprisoned for 23 years and sent to the death penalty for a quadruple murder he reportedly never committed in Winona, Mississippi. Flowers was 26 years old when he was fired from working at a furniture store. 2 weeks later, the owner of the same store and 3 employees were all found dead inside. In no time, Flowers became a suspect and was later arrested and charged with the murder of all 4 victims. Over 6 different trials, all for the same crime, the final verdict resulted in guilty, and Flowers was sentenced to death. Investigators started looking into the jury selection, and reportedly the prosecution had racially discriminated during the selection of jurors across all 6 trials. This reached the US Supreme Court, and it was voted to throw out the case based on the prosecutor had purposefully dismissed African American jurors from the trial. The judge granted Flowers bail, and he is now getting put on house arrest.
The only times that Mr. Flowers is allowed to be away from the location where he will be residing is if he's receiving medical treatment, attending meetings with his attorney.
And now, in 23 years, this is the first time Flowers is outside of prison.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so excited right now. I can't think straight. Thank you all very much. Thank you all. Thank you all.
A year later, the state denied to put Flowers back on trial and officially dropped all charges. The state of Mississippi announced that it will pay Flowers $500,000 for his 23 years of wrongful imprisonment.
The payment don't be enough, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, bro.
Especially when you like
23 years for
500,000, but again, it's Mississippi, honey.
Hey, but I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I'll say that to the end.
For his 23 years of wrongful imprisonment. This is Kimberly Long, who was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison for a murder she never committed in Riverside, California. Long arrived home and discovered her boyfriend dead. She immediately called 911. Despite being the person who found the dead body, Long ended up becoming the lead suspect. She was soon convicted of second-degree murder and sent to prison. But 7 years later, forensic evidence showed that her boyfriend died long before she had arrived at the scene, and there was DNA of an unknown male at the crime scene. The conviction now gets overturned.
The judgment of conviction is vacated and a new trial will be ordered.
Long is now outside of prison. The prosecution soon dropped all existing charges.
I feel happy, elated, relieved, just a lot of emotions right now.
Long reportedly received $386,000 from the California Victim Compensation Fund.
With situations like hers, I be like, who failed to do their job properly in the first place? Because I'm like, everything was already there for y'all to... You know,
I'll also say this.
Go ahead.
Well, in her case, it's because it was her boyfriend. We don't know if they had previously domestic reports or not. So y'all, most of the time when it's domestic like that, they always tend to do what?
No. The significant other. No, yeah, they always it's going to always be, you know, the significant other, the first person they look at. I get that.
And that's the reason why some people are typically convicted wrongfully for their crimes, because y'all always point the picture or try to point the finger at the spouse or the significant other. But in situations like that as well, that's the reason why a lot of people, when they find a body, they like, oh shit, I'm gone. Because if I call 9 times out of 10, who they're gonna look at is the person that discovered the body.
Yeah.
We've seen 2 situations like this.
Yeah, most definitely.
2 situations like this. Y'all basically went and looked at the person who discovered the bodies. One, unfortunately, they didn't call the police. The other one, they did call the police. Both actually get convicted because they are the ones who found the body first.
Yes, most definitely. I get that. But again, like I was saying, you have like the timing, the time of death doesn't match up when she got home or when she called, whatever. Then you already have DNA here that did no one like test to, or, test for this DNA or make sure, just everything. Like, it's a crime scene. So anything that looks out of place or looks odd or looks whatever, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, everything was already there. So why
but
did
you saying evidence is already there for y'all to be punched out in
why
direction.
didn't we do this in the beginning and 7 years later y'all want to like, I don't know,
do y'all job?
I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah,
like,
I get what
situations
you're
like
saying.
that, I just be like
do y'all
like,
job?
damn, like, I mean, I've been sitting here for 7 years because somebody failed to do whatever.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing is though. Also, we gotta take in as well. Just because of these situations you just set free doesn't actually mean that you're innocent as well. True. Just the evidence couldn't factually put you in jail and possibly, you know what I'm saying. So we gotta take it with a grain of salt that they are actually innocent. But sometimes at the end of the day, y'all have to do y'all job to 100%
them out
prove
them
that
they are
prove that they in fact are guilty.
Don't
try to finesse the system just for a conviction rate. Actually do your job and actually find the right person guilty. If y'all don't have true evidence on these people, leave these people alone. That's all I'm trying to get out. Is like, it's too many people that has been convicted for whatever charge,
and they really don't have anything.
Just imagine how many people that actually got a death date and was put to death that are actually innocent. It's probably 9 times out of 10 is a high
and those
percentage
cases
rate.
like really make me mad, especially like when y'all done already like the deed is done, y'all done already did whatever, and then y'all come back years later and be like, this person was actually innocent and they're gone now.
But just imagine as well, you sitting there, whether it been an electric chair or how they do it now, or even being hung back in the day, but you sitting there looking amongst the people. And the people looking at you, oh yeah, you filthy animal, and you looking at these people and like, I didn't do this. Like, I'm dying for what reason? I am an innocent individual, and I had a life I could live. But in your head, you convicted me, and you put in your mind that I'm a guilty individual, and I'm sitting here, and then having to go through pain and suffering and telling my loved ones goodbye. I'll never see you again, just because someone wanted to paint me the picture of being guilty, and I know I'm not. So those are the ones that I'm thinking about. Like, yo, you got people gone, and they never had an opportunity to. Hey man, it's crazy, man. Make sure y'all spam us up. Let us know y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, man. But as always, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ Milke. This is we are. Yeah, y'all.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar.